So everyone knows, everyone watching, you all know, the president of the United States is the head of the executive branch of government, obviously. And that means no matter who this person is, they have a lot of power. Even that Yahoo, who you can see behind my shoulder. But presidents are not all powerful. That's one thing that we need to be very clear about and keep stating. They cannot just do whatever the heck they want. And that's one of the reasons why there are a bunch of important jobs throughout the federal government that are designed as independent from the White House and from the president, whoever is the president. Jobs where people remain in their roles through administrations of both parties. Some of these jobs have 10-year terms, 12-year terms, 14-year terms. Jobs where new presidents are not allowed to come in and just start firing people. But as we've seen, Trump has been on a bit of a total rampage since taking office, firing as many of those independent voices as he can possibly get away with. Now, there may be people or jobs that most people haven't heard of, but they are still very important. They're playing very important roles in the government, some of the most important ones. Now, in January, Trump fired 2 members of the National Labor Relations Board, the agency that protects the rights of private sector employees against unfair labor practices, a pretty important thing. He also fired 2 members of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, which protects workers from discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, age, or disability, also very important. In February, he fired the chair of the Merit System Protection Board, which protects federal workers from being forced out of their jobs without cause. And in March, he fired 2 Democrats on the Federal Trade Commission, the agency responsible for protecting American consumers from fraud. To be absolutely clear here, in case there's any doubt, Trump was not allowed to fire any of those people under the law. And at the time, many of them stood up and challenged their firings in court. Not an easy thing to do, by the way. And one case even made its way to the Supreme Court. As you might expect, the court's conservative majority was all too eager to validate Donald Trump's reckless actions. In a 6-3 decision, all 6 conservative justices decided to let Trump's firing stand while the case played out in the lower courts. How courageous of them. But even those 6 very conservative justices, 3 of them whom Trump nominated himself, remember, made clear that there are some people Donald Trump should not be allowed to fire, effectively saying there are some jobs that are so important they must be protected from presidential overreach. Specifically, they said the president should not be able to arbitrarily fire members of the Federal Reserve. Because, as they said, the Federal Reserve is a uniquely structured institution with a distinct historical tradition of independence, all for good reason. So their message was pretty clear. I mean, the conservative justices were basically saying, all right, Donald, we're going to let you fire these people that no president has been allowed to fire before. But we're drawing the line at the Federal Reserve. Do not try to fire anyone on the Federal Reserve's Board of Governors. That was the message Trump got from a co-equal branch of government, a conservative one, by the way. But what those conservative justices should have known, what everybody watching this probably knows and knew before they did, is this. If you give Donald Trump an inch, he will always take a mile. And so last week, Trump just blatantly leaped over that red line that the Supreme Court drew for him. He fired Lisa Cook, a member of the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, and another brazen, likely illegal power grab. But here's the other thing that happened. Lisa Cook made it very clear that she is not going to go down without a fight. Today, she filed a lawsuit challenging Trump's authority, telling the court that if Trump is allowed to fire her, then he can, quote, remove any Federal Reserve Board member with whom he disagrees about policy based on chalked up allegations. Yeah, exactly. Lisa Cook understands that the only way to stop Donald Trump from seizing absolute power for himself is to fight back. And she is not the only one. Today, Trump fired another member of an independent agency, a member of the Surface Transportation Board, who Trump himself actually appointed during his first term. He, too, is vowing to challenge his firing. And other federal officials are standing up as well. On Monday, more than 180 current and former officials at FEMA wrote an open letter blasting the Trump administration for how it has hampered the disaster relief agency. They wrote, quote, our shared commitment to our country, our oaths of office, and our mission of helping people before, during, and after disasters compel us to warn Congress and the American people of the cascading effects of decisions made by the current administration. And now at least 30 current FEMA officials have been put on leave simply for signing that letter. This is an agency that responds to disasters. People rely on this agency.